One thing to keep in mind, it is a soggy course because of the rainfall throughout the course of the week, but it is dry today as far as no more new moisture. And one of the great sights in all of sports, the beginning of an ACC cross-country championship.
Yeah, and now this field is about 180 strong, so it's not a tiny race. It's about half the size of the NCAA championship field. And again, we have 6 women's teams here, nationally ranked. And there's a 7th team, Syracuse, that actually is ranked 2nd in the Northeast region, which would give them an auto-qualifying berth. So there's a great chance for the NCAA to advance 7 women's teams to the NCAA championships in 4 weeks. There are your teams to watch: State, Notre Dame, Stanford, Virginia, BC. You can mention Wake Forest in there as well.
So as we watch the start, let's talk about this course specifically. You are very familiar with it, and I think the stark contrast to what we have seen in previous years, this is a relatively flat course. It is very friendly to the athlete.
Yeah, and actually the moist ground that we're talking about, we could see in some of the shots pre-race that there's mud on the course. That'll make up for a little bit, but other than that, it's going to be fast, and it's playing right into the hands of Hartman and Napoleon of NC State. As you see, they take the early lead. We'll get you splits every few kilometers or so. I think the first split's coming up right at 1K, and we'll get an idea early how fast they're going out. But we expect hard, fast running here. There's too many runners not to have that happen that are very, very good nationally. Stanford ranked 13th in the nation behind that lead, expected lead 2 of NC State Notre Dame. They're coached by J.J. Clark. He's in his 7th year coaching the Cardinal. They were 7th at the Nutty Cone meet. 2 of the teams that beat them were State and Notre Dame. But they won the Gans Creek Classic at Missouri. That was a really impressive early season win in an effort to preview the NCAA course, which will be in Columbia, Missouri this year. And there you see NC State with 3 right at the top. And one of the Kenyan runners from Clemson also up in the lead.
You talked about Stanford, their 2nd competition as far as an ACC member. Last year was the inaugural run, and they are headlined by Sophia Kennedy, the junior from Indianapolis. And the Cardinal currently ranked 2nd in the West region behind Oregon. So this is the team that arrived in Kentucky earlier this week, very confident that they can continue their ascension up among the leaders in the ACC with runners such as Kennedy and Hannah Thompson, a young freshman, Riley Stewart, and Mina Scratcher. So they have the depth to compete for one of those top spots.
That they do. Hannah Gapes and Hartman now running 1-2 up in the front. And we see a nice group of Notre Dame runners right behind them. Notre Dame, again, Mary Banner Dalton, Amoya Aramini. There's a Florida State runner up in the pack. That is likely Riley Blade. FSU now coached by Cody Halsley. And there's a bunch of Virginia women's runners in there too. Tatum David, Jillian Boucher, Stella Kermes.
Hannah Gapes coming in at 3:15. Hartman shoulder to shoulder with her. Clemson's Jalego right now 3rd. And then Chisholm of Notre Dame, one of their experienced runners. Keep in mind, Notre Dame has a very young squad. Chisholm, the veteran, and one of those youngsters, Mary Bonner Dalton, with a strong start through the opening K.
Absolutely. And when you look at the 3rd place runner from Clemson, Jalego, she was an outstanding runner at 1,500 meters outdoors last year. And she has another teammate, Gladys Chepnagenich, who also is expected to contend for high honors individually here. But the Clemson Lady Tigers lacking the depth of some of the other teams.
We saw Jalego really run well at the D1 pre-nats, placing 2nd, time of 19:05.8. She took 2nd at the Louisville Cross Country Classic earlier this year, so she has certainly delivered a standout season. NC State with Gapes and company right now, 41 points. Notre Dame sitting 2nd. Those 2 teams clearly separating from the pack early.
And we remind our viewers that the low score wins in cross country. Yeah, NC State out like we expected. Notre Dame running second, Virginia third, Stanford fourth. Again, all pretty much according to form here early on. Clemson is running really well right now, but that is largely based on those just 3 points up front for their lead runner. I don't expect Clemson will be in the top 5 by the end of the race.
Hannah Gapes, the junior, grew up in New Zealand, John Paul College, and they were talking to her earlier this year, and she talked about the growth of this team since the start of the 2025 season. And one thing she brought up I thought was interesting. Lori Hennis, she described her as such an individualized coach. Her needs are different as far as when you look at Gapes and you look at Napoleon and Hartman. And what Hennis does so well is that with all of these different needs, she makes sure those athletes specialize in what they are looking for. Hennis is so good at that. Hannah Gapes, a runner that doesn't require as much mileage as Grace, while Angelina Napoleon relies more on the cross-train, and that's why Hennis and NC State have had such a strong hold on this conference.
Yeah, you know, dance with what you bring to the dance, right? And Gapes, coming all the way from New Zealand, brings a unique blend of talents, but she's very, very good. Again, she was one of those top 10 finishers at Nuttycombe, and when you put that into context, I mean, there's probably 30 of the best teams in the country at Nuttycombe, and State is by far the best of that group, and they have 4 of their top runners in the top 10. And you don't have to look too far for their 5th woman. She was 17th at Nuttycombe, Sadie Engelhardt, and she's just a freshman. All the other Wolfpackers are sophomores or juniors up front. So I think that she will continue to build the Wolfpack. She's a great recruiter on top of being a great coach in terms of adjustments and knowing what her runners need individually.
So how good and how dominant were they at the Nuttycombe? They finished with 41 points. That was 80 points ahead of second place Notre Dame. And as Norm mentioned, so many top teams in the country always make the Nuttycombe a priority. They had 3 in the top 10, 5 in the top 20. 4 of their runners finished under 20 minutes, and their 1 through 5 spread just 41 seconds. Just an incredible showing, and that depth, you gotta believe, is going to flare up as we continue to go deeper into this championship race.
Yes, Jalego giving a bit of a run there for the lead with Hartman.
Come on, Sadie.
And then you can see Wolfpack has 3 of the top 6 right now, which is a great way to start an ACC meet. Jalego,
Thanks, Hannah. You're good, Hannah. You're good, Hannah.
Again, she was incredible at 1,500 meters this past May at the ACC Championships in Winston-Salem. There you can see some of the water on the side of the course and the mud in the middle.
Yeah, they had a lot of rain earlier in the week. Yesterday, fairly dry, and then we woke up in Louisville this morning to clear skies. Temperatures for the final Friday of October, exactly where you would expect them to be in northern Kentucky.
Yeah, this is pretty much perfect cross-country weather. Temperature in the mid-40s. You see all the colors in the trees. And now Hartman asserting herself fairly early here. We'll be coming up on 3K in a little while. We'll give you updated team scores and splits, etc. But Hartman trying to assert her dominance over Jalego even this early in the race. And then Gapes running third.
Grace Hartman, such a decorated career, the junior from Oakwood, Ohio, entering this cross-country championship, an 8-time All-American, 9-time All-ACC performer, and there was some concern throughout the regular season. Keep in mind, she was out for about 4 months dealing with a plantar injury that cost her a lot of repetition. So we weren't sure what to expect when she stepped on the course at Nuttycombe, but she delivered. She picked up where she left off, and that was running the 3rd fastest time ever at the prestigious tournament.
I mean, one thing she's had to her advantage is having all these great mentors of the past. You know, the last 5 champions before her. You know, to learn how it's done. And again, you've got Lori Hennis as your coach. You got a lot of things going for you. There's the 3K split right there, 9:27 or 8. We'll get those officially. As you see, Wolfpack now with 4 in the top 6. Or no, that's actually that's Stanford. So no, 3 in the top 6. And here's Wolfpack's 4th runner right there. There's a couple more Notre Dame runners. Notre Dame making it a little closer. There's 27 flat for Hartman. Jalego 29.5. Hannah Gapes 9:32.2. So 3 of the top 4 for NC State, and then a few others coming in. We'll get you team scores real soon.
Mary Bonner Dalton sitting in the number 5 spot for Notre Dame, the sophomore out of Charlotte. Notre Dame coach Matt Sparks really pushed her this offseason to try out for Team USA, and 2024 was quite the year for Dalton as she became the first girl in North Carolina state meet history in any classification to break 17 minutes at the state meet. NC State right now 32 points. Dalton and Notre Dame sitting a distant second, followed by North Carolina and Stanford.
Yes, and as you see, Clemson, who was top 5 earlier, now out of that lead group, but some real dominance by NC State, just as we suspected. 32 points in this field would be quite the statement. And now running one of the sharper turns in the course. The women are essentially running 2 3K loops for their 6K distance. 6K, a little short of 4 miles. And Grace Hartman now really opening up a gap. Remember, now we're not even halfway yet. Or I guess we're just halfway. We're just halfway. And she's got a gap of, I don't know, 80 meters maybe? Impressive. Again, that downtime doesn't seem to have hurt her at all. It's given her time to focus. And you know, sometimes when you run a lot of races, it can actually work to your advantage. Not from a physical standpoint, but it gets you mentally refreshed and really eager to get after it.
Prior to the Nuttycombe for Hartman, the last time we saw her was in the outdoor track and field season, where she was named the Outdoor Track Performer of the Year, rightfully so. She took home the ACC title in the 5,000 meters. She broke the program facility and meet record in the 10K at the Raleigh Relays of 31:20.6. Talked about the ACC championship in the 5,000 with a meet record time of 15:12.03, and that set both the ACC and the ACC championship record.
Now we have a look a little further back in the pack. There's the top runner for Wake with, I guess that's state's 5th. Florida State, more Notre Dame. That's one of the few hills in the course right there, that little speed bump. Again, basically a flat. Now this is the main start area that they are running by now. So getting towards what will be the 4K split, and then they'll do a 2K loop, I guess, to finish off.
And as they enter into the final 2K, keep in mind this will be a brand new part of the course. They looped the first couple of Ks, so now they're going to be entering into a terrain that they are seeing for the first time, as they will kind of weave their way through the trees into a little bit of a forest before popping out for the final 300 meters or so and the final straightaway. Hartman at a 12:38 flat through the 4K. Jalego sitting 2nd for Clemson. Napoleon and Gapes 3 and 4 for NC State. Dalton not budging, and we've seen North Carolina making a move into the number 6 spot
with Vera Schoberg. Hartman again with a 12-second lead, so I'm standing, it's probably about 80 meters, which you can barely see Jalego in 2nd place, roughly 80 meters back there, but still Pack doing great with the top 3 of the top 4 and solidly in control of the team race.
You mentioned Vera Schoberg into the top 6 for the first time. The transfer has made an impact this cross-country season, and Schoberg, one of those examples, running for Chris Miltenberg, coming in from Boston University, and now in her first ACC championship, looking for all ACC honors. NC State 33 points right now. Notre Dame 2nd, as the Wolfpack, the favorite on paper, ranked number 2 in the country, taking care of business through the first 4K.
Yes, the thing I noticed there was Duke crept into 6th place. Now, if they were to finish that high, and they're have a return to Duke, is Coach Kevin Germain. He led them to a 2nd and 3rd place NCAA finish back in the early 2000s. Spent a while out of coaching and then coaching at Elon. Now back at Duke, and he's got this Blue Devil team beating a couple nationally ranked teams. which right now would include Stanford, Wake, and BC. Again, that's temporary, but we'll see how that turns out. They're led by Stephanie Moss, who finished 23rd at the Nuttycombe meet.
Another transfer this offseason arriving from Oklahoma State. Hartman taking a couple of looks back just to kind of get a feel of where she sits with the lead. Entering into the final 1.5 kilometers. You see that gentle slope up, and then she will go underneath the canopy of the trees before popping out for the main straightaway.
Now, on this course, it's flat, but there are quite a few roots, tree roots that are in the course. And late in the race, especially on this back loop where we see here, if you get tired, you could trip yourself up on one of them. So not a huge factor, but it can be if you're not paying attention.
Take a look at some of the fastest times, the records right now to keep an eye on. 19:19.5 for New Mexico. Washington's Neal with a 19:27.
Yeah, those times were running in NCAA championships, which is why you see schools that weren't from the ACC in there. But here's the 5K split. So we're 1,000 meters from the finish now. About 3 minutes left in this race. And Hartman seems to have things well at hand, although her margin of leading has slipped as Gapes has closed down. Jalego's going backwards a little bit. But it looks like the 1-2 finish of Hartman, and I guess that is Gapes, or maybe it's Napoleon.
Yeah, it looks like Napoleon has slid into the 2 spot.
Yes.
Anna Gapes sitting 4th. Bonner Dalton still holding steady at 5th.
Yeah,
so Hartman, Napoleon, and Gapes 1, 2, and 4. And you look at the move by Angelina Napoleon, the sophomore. Keep in mind she was the bronze medalist at the outdoor track and field championships in the steeplechase. She had a busy fall, had a top 10 5th place finish at the World Championships in Tokyo for Team USA in the steeplechase, and she has plenty of kick as she tries to catch her teammate Hartman as we get ready to enter the final few meters of this one.
She really does look good. You know, Vera Schoberg for UNC running a heck of a race. She's a senior for the Tar Heels. Tar's not going to be there at the top when the team totals are counted, but very good race for Schoberg. Here comes, we're about a half mile from the finish now. Hartman trying to hold off her teammate, Angelina Napoleon, the great steeplechaser, as Sean just told you. And it looks like Napoleon is going to get her. This may be where that lack of preparation that Hartman had leading up to this is catching up a little bit. I mean, she's still winning, but Napoleon really looks good and is certainly gaining. She just looked back. You can see Hartman looking back at Napoleon. NC State far in front in the team score.
Yeah, they've improved. They went from 33 down to 29 points over the last kilometer.
Look at North Carolina.
The closing coming from Napoleon right here. She has wiped out a huge deficit with her teammate.
And she's taken the lead. Napoleon in the lead.
Angelina Napoleon moves into the top spot for the first time.
And I was in error just recently talking about Schoberg. Her Carolina teammates have rallied fantastically. UNC's in 3rd. Another great coaching job by the Tar Heel coaches, led by Chris Miltenberg.
What a story this would be for Angelina Napoleon. We talked about her success on the world stage in the steeplechase. She talked about how the world final became a goal as a little kid and then became a reality coming out of the NCAAs last year. Well, she is a few meters away from check-marking another goal off her list. The sophomore from Allegheny, New York. And here the final few steps for NC State. Napoleon is going to win it.
Mary Banner Dalton looks like she's going to get in for 2nd. Yep, Mary Banner Dalton, Jalego 3rd. And look at Hartman stumbling. She gets 4th. Still should be an easy win for the Wolfpack, but a lot closer than it was earlier in the race.
The youth of the ACC with strong finishes. Napoleon to the ACC title. And Bonner Dalton, another sophomore for Notre Dame, goes from 5th to 2nd to earn the silver in the final few steps.
Our early indications there's the unofficial individual winners: Napoleon, Dalton, Jalego, Hartman, Gapes, Schoberg with 6th. We unofficially have NC State winning with 32 points. We'll get those up for you in just a bit as other runners come in. Sixth place went to Sophia. Oh, no, this is an older score.
Course record established for Napoleon, 19:13.9 for the sophomore. Some of the other runners, Sophia Kennedy finishing the highest for Stanford as expected. Kennedy 7th, Mahalik of NC State 8th. And the Wolfpack, you can see their body language right now and their performance. They are back on top of the ACC.